You're listening to the podcast for small business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders who are tired of the client hustle. We believe sustainable business isn't about chasing new leads, it's about keeping the great clients you already have. Let's dive in. I'm excited to be here with my friend Tanya Bugbee. We had got connected a couple of years ago now on LinkedIn through Adam Packard. And
Yep.
I still do some work with Adam, and I'm excited to see how this has kind of come full circle for us because we were talking about how to connect and promote and do things on LinkedIn, which is where I got to connect with you at. And watching your growth and just, I got to tell you, your content is so good.
Oh, thank you.
Every time I see something, I know that it's real. And because I am a coach sort of to my
Mhm.
businesses, there's a lot of times, even though I'm not your ideal target client, but I could be,
Could be someday. You
yeah,
never know.
you never know. But it speaks to me. It really
Yeah.
speaks to me, and it feels very genuine.
Thank you.
And yeah, so I every time I see yours, I have to read it. And so you do a really good job of that. And so for those of you, everybody on my side may not know you. So just introduce yourself a little bit, say who you are, how you help in the world, and anything you feel comfortable sharing.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. I'm so excited to be here as a guest because a lot of times when I go live, I'm hosting like you are right now. So it feels different, even though we're in the same space. It just still feels different. Okay, so I'm Tanya Bugbee. I have a coaching company, Tanya Bugbee Coaching and Consulting. And my primary client are real estate professionals, realtors, lenders, brokers. So real estate professionals wanting to take their business to the next level, be more consistent, more referrals, whatever that looks like for them. And I do have clients that are other business owners, roofing company executives, and Fortune 500 companies that come to me, typically referrals from my realtors. So I'm not only a business coach for realtors, however, that is the biggest
Or
piece of my
you're
business. Yeah.
And one of the things I notice about what you teach based on what I see is that making a stronger business is because you do take care of your clients so well. You have systems in place. You have the right support, like hiring a good VA or, whatever they need to have the systems in place and that they're able to then get their own referrals. And
Right.
so you've been doing this now for about 10 years. I'm wondering when you look at your client base, what do you think the number one problem your client is dealing with when they decide to come to you?
Gosh, that's a loaded question. So depending on where they are in their business, and right now I seem to be onboarding a lot of mid-producing agents, lenders, brokers, and I've been in their shoes, so I totally get it. They're doing everything themselves. They're having such a hard time letting go and hiring a VA or a transaction coordinator or an admin or a showing agent or a runner. Whatever that looks like, because it's not a one size fits all on who my clients really need to hire. That's the stumbling block right now is letting go of some of the things that they don't want to let go of. And I've been there. I totally get it. Yeah.
So started my moving company in 2019. I was working with a group of one of my first clients, who was actually the first two. I started with two, and everybody else has come from referrals ever since then.
Mhm.
She was with Keller Williams, and she referred me to several other Keller Williams agents, and they're fabulous. I mean, they're so good. And the leadership there teaches them how, I think it's called bold. It teaches them
Yes.
all their stuff,
Yes.
right? And
Uh-huh.
they're so good, the mindset, I love it. But they had this trouble. The number one reason we couldn't do work well for them was because they wouldn't let go of the stuff and they wouldn't let us do the thing.
Right.
And so I know that struggle is real. What you're talking about is
Yeah.
totally real. Have you read the book Who Not How?
I have not.
Oh,
So I will look that up as soon as we hang up.
yes, 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 yes.
I'm
It
writing it
is
down.
so good. Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan are the authors. They also wrote The Gap and the Gain, which is my favorite book of all times. It's so good. But Who Not How, it basically says you should only be doing the things that you're naturally gifted at and you outsource everything else.
Yes.
And I was actually living and doing Who Not How before I ever read the book, which was very interesting because
Yes.
I just naturally, I know there's certain things I'm just not good at.
Yeah.
And the amount of growth that you'll be able to have when you have this support system in place, you're focusing on, for realtors, they should be talking to buyers and sellers.
That's right.
Somebody else can do the rest.
Right. So even if you're not good at it yet or comfortable yet at talking to buyers or going networking or doing open houses, that's what they need to be doing to generate the leads they need to grow, not the paperwork, not licking stamps on an envelope. Right. Right. That is not, however, that's
Yeah.
been my pain with getting them to let go. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so tell me just a little bit maybe about a success story of someone that you've worked with for a little while and how they've been able to maybe actually implement some of the things. What has it done for their business?
Well, interesting. Last year for 2025, I helped 5 of my clients onboard admins in whatever that looked like. And I actually helped them with their job descriptions, helped them advertise it. I helped them. I actually was on the interviews. I said, you pick 3 and I will actually be on Zoom and the 3 of us will be on an interview together. So I actually did interviews with my clients. So I'll pick one gentleman who really, I mean, nobody just says, okay, let's hire, right? It's a process. It's a coaching process. It's a confidence, courage, seeing things in writing like, oh, here's the job description. Oh, that wasn't so hard. Right. So just helping them and holding their hand through it. So this gentleman hired someone. We did 3 interviews. He picked one. We onboarded her. It's been almost a year. And she is phenomenal.
So
She helps him with he'll create videos, but then she'll go make them pretty. She does the birthday cards. She does so many of the behind the scenes stuff. Like I have a 5 steps to duplicate a listing system, and 3 is for the admin. 2 is for my client. However, before he hired her, he had to do all 5.
you're wrong.
Right. And so she's doing that, and her work is good. I mean, she did here's an example. She did a Valentine's email to all of his clients. He has 3 active listings that just came up right before Valentine's Day. So she did a Cupid themed email saying, I have 3 active listings that are single, available, and looking for the perfect match. And it had all these cupids and hearts and everything all over the email. I'm like, I couldn't have done it better.
No, it's so good. Yeah. Yeah,
But,
that's so
her
good.
creativity makes him even shine.
Yeah, that's so good. Is she
Yeah.
stateside or is she overseas?
No, she's stateside, so she's local for him. They're in Phoenix, so she can
Okay.
go to the office or run some errands
Yeah,
if he
that's
needs as
really good.
well. However, for the marketing pieces, she certainly wouldn't have to be. And I do have another client who has she's 30 hours a week VA assistant in the Philippines, and she's
Yeah.
working out wonderfully.
Yeah, there are, as long as you have the process in place to vet them, to interview them. I have 2 people that I know that run VA companies similar to mine that are, I'm stateside, my people are stateside. But when I set up my company, I called it a virtual admin company, but we're really more like an online business manager. That term wasn't around in 2019 when I
Right.
started. And so now we're making this shift to where we're really focusing on client care, the retention piece.
Mhm.
And but we know I have 2 companies. So if somebody comes to us and they want just general VA work done and we're not going to take it on, I can refer them. So I know that there's great people in the Philippines and in other places as well. But having somebody as a realtor, having somebody that's local that can pop by if you need them to, or to
Sure.
go out to like to fill in when I'm
Yeah, or
very,
help them stage or have them de-stage or, hey, go to Target and buy some towels to stage the bathroom. I mean, a realtor is great when they have what's called a runner. However, we'll also have to look at the finances and see what fits. Regardless, if it's 5 hours a week or 30 hours a week, we got to start somewhere.
one of my very first, first Keller Williams client that I had, it was my second client. Um, we worked with her for probably 2.5 years. And then her husband, who has since passed away, had started a VA company in the Philippines. And so she ended up going with them, which made total sense.
Sure.
Right. Right. That made total sense to support
Well,
her
they're
husband.
sleeping together, right?
Yeah. Right. No harm, no foul.
No.
But the really interesting thing, though, was that from the time we started working with her, within year one, she doubled her business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Right.
agree. That's what happens. It's either it is both. It's both. It's yes, they increase their business, whatever their goal is, and it gives them time to go watch their kids' basketball game or soccer game or watch the gymnastics meet on the weekend, which one of my clients actually is doing this weekend because her assistant is so good and she's licensed. And you don't have to have a licensed real estate assistant. However, hers is. So she's doing an open house so she can go to the gymnastics. So it adds some calm and it can add more
Mhm.
money. Both.
Ye Yeah, both for sure. Well, and so you take on clients, and how do they apply? Do you have, like, an onboarding call or, like, a get to know you call? How does that work?
Yes, I call it a discovery session to make sure
Okay.
that we're a good fit. And of course, they're curious about me and why am I different? I certainly have many competitors out there. So they want to see what Tanya's all about. And I also set boundaries too on, who my client is, right? And if I feel it would be a good match, typically they are because they're referrals from my clients, right? So that's typically not an issue. And then once we're all on the same page, then we get started.
So that's very interesting because all of our businesses come from referrals too. And
Yeah.
so when somebody comes on, I always ask about them. And then I tell them a little bit about us. And then I'll say either we're a fit or we're not, no harm, no
Right.
foul, right? That
Correct.
relieves the pressure, right?
Hmm.
Where that I'm not gonna like hard sell them. And so now switching to the retention side of things, and I actually have marketing and things going out. We're getting clients coming to us that haven't been referred yet. Like
Yeah.
I got my first two clients that weren't referrals for the retention stuff that I only like they saw something on YouTube or in a
Oh,
community
cool.
and so I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, do I need to vet them? Do I need them to give me some references? I don't
Well,
know what
Tim,
to
that's
do.
what I would like. I mean, I'm super grateful, extremely grateful for the referrals, and I would like to grow my business even
Yeah.
more. So I do need to start finding, having some, strangers call me, right? Some
Yeah.
leads off of Facebook or YouTube. That hasn't happened yet. So that is a goal for me.
I think so. But the cool thing is I host a live demo every Friday at noon Central. And both of these people are people that actually found out about us, signed up for the demo, and then signed up for our Done With You
Very
program,
nice.
Done For You. And so I got a feel of them on the front end because it's a lot like an interactive thing. You got to
Mhm.
ask them questions and stuff. And so I sort of vetted them, but it's a new thing because
It is a new
usually
thing.
it's like, I don't know if I need references. I'm not sure, but
Well,
all
you'll
right.
see.
So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. So
Yeah.
I know that you submitted a question for me to answer about retention, and I'll answer that first, and then we'll see kind of where
Okay.
that conversation goes. Do you remember what the question was?
I don't. It was so long that I gave
I
it to
know.
you.
Your question was, what is my number one best piece of advice for client retention?
Okay.
And my number one piece of advice is onboarding is everything. If you onboard your clients properly, and I actually teach a 5-part onboarding process that goes over 100 days. This could be edited based on the length of the client contract or the situation. Like it can be reevaluated, but basically it starts by gathering some information about them. You can use a form. You don't have to if you're on the phone and you're talking to them. Just you have to get the information to allow you to serve them well, to then show some appropriate appreciation. Because if you want to mail them something and you never got their address,
Correct.
right? Or if you want to do a birthday card and you never got their birthday. So you have to gather some appropriate appreciation. And then I teach a 7-day check-in where once everything's started, do some type of check-in. I typically say if you are normally texting them for communication, don't email them that.
Yeah.
Communicate the same way you normally would. And then at day 30, send them some little small thing in the mail, a card, a thank you, I'm thinking of you, a resource, something like that. Day 45, I ask for feedback.
Nice.
And the reason I ask for feedback is because if you don't ask for feedback, they're not going to know early on that it's okay to tell you when something's not working. And if you build the relationship in such a way that if something's not working, they feel comfortable sharing with you, then those little things aren't going to fester and then they're going to just leave because without saying anything.
Right.
And then
Yes.
around day 75 or so, I use Mailbox Power for this and I send them a small gift. Usually it's a cup like
Mhm.
this, has my logo on it and their logo on it, symbolizing the partnership,
Oh, I love that.
right? With just a note saying, hey, happy to be part of the team. And then at day 90, I send them a link to schedule a Zoom call with me or a phone call, or if they're local, meet up in person to just out, not talking about the scope of the work, but just how are we doing? What can we do better? Like, what have we done already? And continue to make plans for the next 90 days. And then
Mhm.
at 90 days, they get something else from me. But when you do the onboarding properly, they're going to have two chances for feedback, right? And it's just, if you can't do the rest of what I teach, if you just do the onboarding, you'll see your retention go up.
Yeah. I can see how important that is. I have a couple fail examples in my own business where I haven't onboarded properly. And I
Me
love
too.
your
That's how I
system, but the
learned.
one that I need to add is the 45-day kind of feedback, tell me how I'm doing. That one I don't have,
Yeah.
but I have like the
And
7-day check-in, 30-day, and send them a note kind of thing. But I like that 45-day. But man, I've learned my lesson the hard way when I have it onboarded properly.
you have people won't even showing up. They sign up and then they ghost before they even make it to like their first calls or trainings or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Well, my
so make
most recent example is I don't coach people when they're driving. And I do have a sheet that has expectations of, 24 hours. Do the best to give me 24 hours notice. If you need to reschedule, rescheduling is fine. All kinds of expectations. Don't have that in there. I just kind of never thought that that would have to be in there. And yesterday, somebody wanted a coach session, was due for a coach call, and they were driving. And I'm like, we need to reschedule. I will not do this while you're driving. Not happy.
just update it. That's the way you know. Yeah. On the feedback on 45 days, make sure it's really easy for them. Like it can be a quick form that just says, what's one thing we're doing really great? What's one thing we could
Mhm.
improve on? And then actually say, I really want to know. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
Right.
Or if you don't even want a form, just an email or a text. How are you normally communicate with them?
Yeah.
Right. Because the goal is for them to know that you truly care about their experience.
Mhm.
Uh, And I tell you, whenever we just implement that one thing in somebody's business, they see their clients engaging more. They see them start to refer more because when you feel like you're being treated as a human and not just a number, and they're actually engaged with you on a level where it's not just a transaction, it changes everything. And I know you
Yeah.
know that.
Yes, yes. It is, and I hope every single one of my clients feels like they're my only client. They know they're not. They're actually all in a mastermind group together, and they do text me, and I text them, and it is huge to know that it's not just about our 2 calls a month or 4 calls a month, depending on which program they sign up for.
Yeah. So, you said you had a retention tip that you were going to talk about that was around about how much you give and intently listen to them. So, talk to me about that and what you mean for building in intentionality, which is a very good tip, by the way.
Yes, yes, being intentional. Well, one of the things I'm known for that I have been extremely intentional on is customizing my coaching program for each one of my clients and not being a one size fits all. And there's lots of coaching companies like that. And so being listening intentionally what they might be struggling with or what they need or what might be helpful, then I can send them a book, or like I say, send them a
Yeah.
gift. And I have some fun gifts. Like I have a journal that has my logo on it that says, "Hey, let's move your needle." And right. However, that's not what they might need right then and there. Right. So knowing what your
I
client
need
needs.
not.
Just really listening to what they need. And that's how I coach my clients who are realtors that are serving buyers and sellers. Listen, what do they need? Are you hearing them complain? Well, you're not. Maybe they don't think you're listening. That they don't have a dog walker or they need somebody to help with the kids while they pack their boxes. Then go find it for them, right? I'm not asking my client to go babysit. That's not what I'm saying. But maybe their
I've been a
teenage daughter will
resource.
offer to babysit or something.
My very first Keller Williams client, Deborah, I don't think she would be, if she was watching. Hi, Deborah. We're still friends. She was really, really good about that with her clients. And if they needed something, oh my gosh, they knew that if they needed something, they could call Deborah and she would do her best to make a
Right.
connection. She was so good at that. And so it's a really good thing. And so I teach that my program's called Retention Made Simple. And one of the things that I teach is that it doesn't have to take a ton of tech, time, or money. It just has to be intentional. So let
Right.
me
There you go.
on
I love
there.
the
I'm like,
word. Yeah.
you got it. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so as you think of companies that you work with and knowing how, because you're a coach, and maybe you're like me that, and I'm not a coach like you, but we're cousins, I would say.
Right.
When I don't know if you're like me in this, is that whenever I'm paying someone for a service or they're providing a service for me and I'm noticing how they're not doing as well with the appreciation or that they're not listening, are you hyper aware of those things
Oh,
or is it
yeah.
me?
Oh my gosh. A couple years ago, I met somebody, I'm not going to say who, and she was highly recommended to help me with some of my branding. And so we did a discovery session. I liked her. She asked me a bunch of questions. I think I hired her for like the basic program. However, when we got on our next call, she didn't remember anything I said. She was asking me the same things over again, or tell me about who you serve. When I talk about realtors, it's not like I serve
Right.
35
It's not a
people.
secret.
And I just said, we're not a good match because I just want to yell at you right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I,
It's like,
yeah.
where's the listening and all of our 1.5 hours spent with each other on Zoom?
Yeah, it's so bizarre. I didn't intend on talking about this, but when you're saying that, I had the weirdest interaction I've ever had, a networking situation just a few weeks ago. One of my clients connected me to somebody on LinkedIn and we got on a coaching, like a connection call. And I recognized really quickly that he was part of a company I already had a contact at.
Hmm.
And so I told him about the contact and he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, I would just refer you back to them then, right?" And
Yeah.
so we had a really good connection call. I really liked him. Then he asked me to sign up for one of his, like, workshop things just to learn a little more, which then felt weird, like, because
Hmm.
it was already, "Hey, you should go back to them." But he sent me another message saying, "Hey, I know that what we talked about may not be for you, but I'd like to get on another call, a follow-up call, see how we might be able to refer each other." And I'm like, okay, maybe he recognized that inviting me to that other thing was weird and he still wants to network. I'm down for networking. Like, you don't have to
Sure.
be my client to network, right?
Right.
And so I get on this call and he had two women on there and he's like, "Hey, I hope it's okay, but I have these two people that are part of the company as well. And I just want them to see I'm doing training for them on how they handle follow-up calls." And I'm like, cool, love it. Like, that's how I train too. I let my people watch me. It's my favorite way to do it because they see real life.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's great. And so he started to go through down the path of how I could refer him and make money doing it. And so after he was done, I asked them a couple of questions, the women and him, just to make sure I had a full understanding. And then I started talking about how they could promote for me, refer me retention made simple and get paid. And he cut me off. He's like, don't be selling to my people.
Well,
And he
that's not
goes,
networking.
wait, it got, and then I can't make this up.
No, you
He's
can't
like,
make it
you know
up.
what? This doesn't feel very good. I'm going to end the call. He hung up from Zoom and then blocked me on LinkedIn like that. And I went back to read the message and I'm like, did I read it wrong? Right. And so not everybody gets it.
No, not everybody gets it.
Not everybody.
And in the coaching profession, I also have to get past, you know, some people don't understand what coaching is, or,
Yeah.
like on LinkedIn, I messaged somebody. It was a top producing real estate agent, and I was running a workshop. And all I did was message him and say, look, I know you're a top producing agent. I follow you on LinkedIn. Do you have any newbies that might benefit from this workshop? 'Cause it
Okay.
was a workshop for newbies. So
Yeah.
I wasn't asking him to join the workshop. Okay, you'll never guess what his response was. He wanted to know what my gross net was every year before he referred anybody to me.
No, thank you. Thank you. Right. No. No. Yeah. So it's
So
so
my
interesting.
value is wrapped around what I make every year, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And not
Not
how
the
I serve
impact,
my
not the
people.
connection, not the relationships, not
Right.
the trust, not the integrity, all
Nope.
those things.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so not everybody gets it when it comes to relationship building.
Right.
And in your business and in my business, both,
Yeah.
everything is based on relationship.
Yeah.
And I would actually say most companies, if they boil it all down, if they wanted a stronger business, it would be based on relationship.
Absolutely. If you're in sales and you have somebody that you're dealing with, right? Unless it was just some online business that nobody had to see your face. Well,
Right.
even then, you still want to give good customer service.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
You
customer
still want to
service,
have a
building
good experience.
relationships. Yeah.
Yep. Last week, I interviewed a woman and we were talking, and she actually helps. Her name's Teresa, and she helps restaurant owners train their staff to give better service and be the first point of contact so that not only do they make better, like the clients, their guests coming in feel more welcome and they'll come back more often, but it helps them make more money. When we were talking, I immediately thought of the restaurants and the places we go to that we've been to multiple times for that very reason. And so it happens in every kind of business.
Absolutely. And there's a book called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yes, yes, yes. I
Yes,
know
one of
that
my
one.
favorite one. And it doesn't matter because it's based around a restaurant, right? It doesn't matter what if it's a
Yeah.
roofing company, a brokerage, a realtor, insurance.
No,
Read that book.
my husband is a process server, and that's kind of a grumpy
Yes.
space just in
Yes.
general because the people that are typically getting served, they
Don't
don't
want to
like
be.
they don't want it. But his space right now, everything is digital. Used to you had to go to the lawyer's offices and stuff, but now they can email the file and you don't have to ever see your process server. But because of the retention made simple stuff that I applied to his business, he gets as much repeat business as he does
Nice.
new business. And it's very interesting. One of the things that we do for him is after someone pays their invoice, they automatically get a message from us saying, hey, we would love it if you would leave us a 5-star Google review. And if you wouldn't leave a 5-star Google review, would you please respond to this message so we can fix whatever we need to fix? Because your experience is our top priority.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been in business very long, and he's already got like 18 or 25-star Google reviews
Awesome.
because he asked,
Sure.
right? And then we send a thank you card in the
And you make it
mail.
easy. You send them a link, right?
That'll
Make
be
it
easy.
super easy.
Yeah, as we make it so easy. And so that's a really good point. When you're asking your client to do something, just like I said with the 45-day feedback, make sure
Make
it's
it
easy for
Yeah.
them to do. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad, Tanya, we had an opportunity to chat. Do you
Thank you.
have anything you'd like to wrap up with, final thoughts that you wish I'd asked or wish we talked about?
Oh, I think we covered a great amount, right?
I did
I
too.
think I enjoyed this time, and
Yeah. Thank you
gosh,
so
if
much.
anybody needs your services or mine, I hope they reach out,
Yep.
right?
I'll make
Or
sure that your
know of
information.
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. It may not be them, but who do you know?
Who do you know?
Who do you know
It's a
that's in real
tattoo on my
estate?
client's arms. Who do you know?
Who do you know? Who do you know that might be in real estate or an executive that could use some support that Tanya could offer? Or who do you know that has a business that's getting clients? Typically, the clients we work with, the businesses we work with, they're already getting clients. They're the people that are getting good Google reviews. They know how to get clients and they're doing good work. That's why they're getting good Google reviews, right?
Mhm.
But what we do is we go in and layer in these little things so that they keep those clients longer and they get more referrals. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I'll make sure that your information, Tanya, is wherever we put
Thank
this
you.
video to so they can click through and get to know you.
I appreciate
Have
it.
a
This
great
was
day.
fun.
Remember, the fastest path to growth isn't always the next new client. It's strengthening your relationships with your current ones. And if you want to be a guest to share your tip or get personalized retention advice, check the show notes for details. Thanks for listening.